What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. And most men, the way our mind works is we wake up every day thinking of a way to make some kind of money. Depending on how you was raised. You understand early on, men are the providers, and therefore we have to get up and make something shake. Rather having a typical 9 to 5 for a guaranteed paycheck, or even if you decide to throw rocks at the penitentiary and hit the block. Most of us understand our value relies highly on what we can do for ourselves financially, our families, and if you are in a relationship or looking for a girl, that woman as well. We hear it all day. No woman wants a broke man. Women calling men brokey all on the internet, words that will crush your soul if you're just trying to figure out life. Unfortunately, we all know most women, if approached by two men, one with a work uniform on and one standing by a nice car with a chain on and money hanging out his pocket, more than likely they want the flashy guy. But you gotta be careful when you are out here dating, especially when a woman thinks you have it like that. There's nothing wrong with buying gifts or spoiling your girl if you are into that. But me and my homeboy used to debate all the time. I felt like I wanted a woman who struggled from the bottom with me. That way if I made it to the top, I knew she was real and she deserved anything I had. But he felt he wanted to have his stuff already in order. A nice house, a nice car, so she understands he doesn't need her. But either way you look at it, you definitely have to watch yourself and the way you lead off. Because you can say yes to a woman 1,000,000 times, but the first time you say no, she might show you who she really is. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to North Chicago, Illinois, to discuss the case of a woman who backdoored her boyfriend, all because he refused to give her more money. Back in the summer of 2022, 22-year-old Ingrid Villanueva was living life in the Chicago suburb of North Chicago, located in Lake County, Illinois, about an hour and some change outside of the city. Ingrid was known to be a pretty girl, infatuated with nice things, keeping her hair and lashes done, and money in her pocket. She was in a committed relationship with a young man who we will call Jay for the sake of the story. Jay wasn't no slouch himself. He kept a few dollars and lived in a nice home in the area. The couple were plugged in. They had been together for years, so it wasn't a new situation. He would look out for her, buy her things, basically spoil the young lady because that was his girl. But on July 30th, 2022, things would go left. Jay and Ingrid was cooling at his spot. Everything seemed normal at first until she turned and asked her boyfriend for some money. He told her he didn't really have it at the time. All his bread was already accounted for. She instantly got an attitude as they went back and forth for a little minute. Jay stood on his word though. That's when Ingrid started acting weird, texting on her phone, stepping in the other room, making phone calls, to the point Jay asked her was everything good. But little did he know his so-called girl was on a mission. Later that day, while not paying attention, Ingrid let 4 men into the house with ski masks on and some had guns in their hand. They ran up on Jay as he was caught off guard, with one of them stating, "If you move, I will definitely smoke you." Confused on why his girl wasn't scared at the time, he would find out when she started telling the men what valuable items were at the house before demanding Jay to cash app her herself $200. She threatened her boyfriend and told him send her the money before she told dude and them to hurt him. He did what he was told, and the 4 men and Ingrid all fled the home and left in her car. Shocked, Jay called local police to report he had been set up and robbed. When they came to his home, he stated they stole a backpack, AirPods, 2 PlayStations, jewelry, and other items. The shocking part was he told police his girlfriend left with the armed men, and she had helped them locate the items before leaving. As police ran Ingrid's name, they got a description of her car, a blue Honda, and put out a bolo for the vehicle. Later that day, police went to an apartment complex in Waukegan, Illinois. After receiving a tip, that's where the robbers were at. While there, the person who lived at the spot gave them permission to search, in which they found all the items that belonged to Jay. Before leaving, police parked up in the parking lot, and minutes later, Ingrid and another man pulled up. At the time, 21-year-old Javante Wade from Waukegan. They were both grabbed and taken into custody. While at the station, both Ingrid and Javante spoke to police. She stated she texted Javante and let the men into Jay's house. She didn't hold back. She stated she helped with the robbery as well. Javante admitted he came over ready to take all the nice items Ingrid bragged her boyfriend had. He claimed they wasn't going to hurt Jay, and he took the items as it seemed like it was just an easy lick. They were both taken into custody on aggravated robbery and other charges and held on a $500,000 bail. Fast forward to this year, Ingrid pled out to the lesser charges against her and took a 5-year plea deal at 50%. With time already in, she probably will be home, if not already released, this year or the beginning of next year. I couldn't find any information on Javante. I know as of September of this year, he was still fighting the case. I know Jay's trust levels is all messed up at this point. The thing that caught my attention though was Ingrid was his girl for years, not weeks or months. He probably felt like he could trust her. I don't know what made Shorty flip the switch like that. Maybe she had already decided to move on and leave Jay for the other guy. But either way, she is a dangerous individual, playing them kind of games. Fortunately for Jay, he survived the situation and can keep it moving, with nothing more than probably a broken heart and fractured ego. But I never understood women that play men games, because what Shorty did will definitely get you hurt. Even if I was old boy Javante, I wouldn't have trusted her, because if she would set up her boyfriend of years for $200, think what she would do to you. But I'm gonna leave this one open. Let me know what y'all think about the situation. Fellas and ladies, let me know if y'all know a female or situation that happened like this. Leave it in the comments. And remember, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, crazy story. Fortunately, in this situation, unlike many more like this, nobody lost their life. Like I said, Jay probably all messed up. He probably out here don't know who to trust. But the young lady Ingrid, she got 5 years, a smack on the wrist, nothing major. Hopefully she can come home and get it together, because playing them kind of games will definitely get you hurt. But yeah, I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all leave it in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. It's another episode of Hood Tales. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. When some people get up every day and go to work, it's to make some money, get a paycheck so they can take care of themselves or their family. They don't have no rap or conversation if it's not concerning the job. After that 8 hours, they clock out, hop in their whip, and leave the day behind. But others get caught up in the politics of work, depending on the type of job you got or where you work at. Us that's been in the work field know firsthand that a job can be just like high school all over again. Cliques, gossip, people trying to get over, and if you work in a co-ed company with men and women, sneaky links and relationships. If you are like me, you have seen married men and women have a work husband or wife. Go to lunch with them, sit in a car with just them two, and swear up and down there's nothing going on. But you can see the tension in the air if their spouse ever pulled up to the job, coming from their so-called work friend. It makes things messy and it's a dangerous game to play. But to some, it's to make work more interesting, a place that's not boring. Because if you do the math, we spend 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week at somebody's company. You go home, you might have dinner with your significant other, catch a movie, and go to sleep. So if you get off at 5 p.m. and have to work at 9, you probably go to bed at 11 or 12. So you really spend more time with the people on the job than you do your own family. And some create strong bonds with co-workers. But when you add feelings in the mix with multiple people dibbling and dabbling and trying to eat out the same cookie jar, signals can get crossed, feelings can get hurt, and pride can definitely come into play. And the situation can take a turn for the worse. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it right outside of St. Louis to Berkeley, Missouri, to discuss the recent case of a beef between co-workers over a woman that came to a fatal end. Last year, 31-year-old St. Louis native Kenneth Anderson Lane, who friends and family either called Slim or KK, was navigating life in the city. KK was described as a fun guy, the life of the party, with a great personality and sense of humor. Sad to be a loyal friend who always had his people's backs, no matter what. But even more important, a father and family man. Of course, to take care of a family, you have to work and make ends meet. But KK was decent. He had a steady job at an Amazon warehouse located right outside of the city in Berkeley, Missouri, making good money. He got along with most of his co-workers, but for the people out there that worked warehouse with men and women, you know what time it is. Everybody had their sneaky links and did their thing, even some who were married and in relationships. And every night at the company, it was like Club Amazon. One of his co-workers was an older guy, 41-year-old Patrick Thor. Patrick was the complete opposite of KK, more reserved, stayed to himself, and was in tune with nature. He liked to be outside, kind of moving to his own beat in life. Patrick himself also had kids. At the job at the time was a young woman, Caucasian, who was said to be married. According to people from the company that worked with the men, allegedly her and Patrick had a thing going on. They would often hang out and link up with each other at the job. But it also was stated she was cool with KK and would sometimes either give him rides home or to the job if he needed. But no one really knew any of their business but the parties involved. On January 12th of this year, it was a normal day. Both men got ready for their shifts and headed to work. It seemed like everything was cool as the night went on. When it was time for their shift to end, everybody got ready to go to their cars in the parking lot and go home. Some say Patrick was arguing with the young lady, who we'll call Ashley for the sake of the story. And being a friend, KK told both of them to chill. Others say Patrick found out about her and KK and felt like the two was messing around and decided to confront them both. While by the door, co-workers who heard the conversation quickly pulled out their phones to record, as people do nowadays. You can see Patrick walking up to KK saying something before KK then, described as a skinny man but with a lot of heart, told him, "I'm not worried about you or her. I will smack both of y'all." Ashley could be heard saying something as she proceeded to walk outside, but Patrick and KK were still going back and forth before KK asked him, like, "Bro, what you want to step outside?" A female co-worker could be heard in the background urging the men to chill. She even told the two, "Y'all better not fight over that B word. It's not worth it." But pride won at the end of the day, and both men agreed to throw hands. A security guard was in the parking lot as the two men started to engage. It started off with a few punches thrown, but in the video, it quickly turned as Patrick was being pulled by his dreads. He upped the blade and started to try to stab KK. As people yelled for them to stop and the security guard tried to intervene, KK hopped up with Patrick holding him. His co-workers noticed the man was leaking. Everyone panicked as KK fell to the ground. He had been stabbed once in the heart and needed help badly. People cussed and fussed at Patrick and called local police, who responded to the warehouse to find Patrick still in uniform at the scene and KK badly conscious. He was rushed to a local hospital, but unfortunately, he wouldn't survive his injuries. Patrick was taken in for questioning, as some co-workers had already gave police the rundown, claiming they were fighting over Ashley. While at the station, Patrick confirmed the two had an argument, but he never stated what it was about. He told police he had a knife on him from work, but they already had video, and they alleged Patrick pulled the knife before even walking outside to fight, stating he already knew what he was about to do. With a whole video and statements, Patrick went from work to being charged with first-degree hit and armed criminal action. The shocking video of the two men fighting went viral. That I won't show, but a little bit of it out of respect for KK's family. People were surprised all that took place on company property. Some blamed the co-workers for recording and not stopping the two. Others blamed the security guard for not breaking up the fight. And some blamed Ashley. But it was clear both men agreed to engage and fight with each other. As of now, the case is brand new, and Patrick is still in custody awaiting trial. It's crazy, because a few weeks ago, he shared the post regarding trying to control your emotions and not let people push you to that point. But we already know it's easier said than done. Rest in peace to Kenneth. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. When I saw the video, the thing that caught me, the woman even knew better, screaming, "Y'all better not fight over shorty." But that pride us men have, especially when we are around people, is serious. And don't let it be some females. I told my wife, if it was just them two in a room by themselves, it probably wouldn't even went that far. They probably would have talked that out. But us as men hate to feel played or seen weak around women. The thing about it though, I'm all for throwing hands as men. It's better than guns coming out. But you never know what's on the next person's mind and how they coming. And when you choose to engage, anything can happen. It's a lot of speculation on this story and a lot of people pointing fingers. So I'm going to leave this one open. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the situation. And have you ever worked in an environment with people beefing over the opposite sex or work somewhere like that now? If so, how do you stay out the mix? Let me know in the comments. And remember, we got to succeed, not to fail. So we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, crazy story. Rest in peace to KK. I send my prayers to his family. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all leave it in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of Hood Tales. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam.
It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another episode of Hood Tales. In this video, let's take it to New Orleans, Louisiana, to discuss the tragic loss of Jonathan Brooken following a messy breakup with his ex-girlfriend. But before we get into this video, I'd like to say thank you to our supporters. We appreciate you and we hope you stick around. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, you can find the information on the screen. And to support us for absolutely no cost, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and join the Tony 2 times family. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. This video is sponsored by yours truly, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and my new YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out and support me. I'll leave the link to it in the description box below. And be sure to share this video with everyone you know. Stay tuned until the end to hear all the details. Everything in this video is alleged. All right, let's get into it. 32-year-old Jonathan Brooken was vibrant, fun-loving, energetic, and family-oriented. He loved to laugh and joke. He was the family comedian and was a class clown. Jonathan's classic move was the Carlton dance, from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to the Tom Jones song, It's Not Unusual. Jonathan and his siblings grew up in New Orleans East, but relocated to the West Bank of Jefferson Parish after Hurricane Katrina in 2005. He attended Helen Cox High School, where he played football in the fall and tuba in the marching band during Mardi Gras parade season. He became a truck driver after graduating in 2010. In his spare time, Jonathan's passion was cars, specifically Dodge Chargers. But his main focus was being a father to his 5 children. He had 4 daughters and 1 son. Jonathan started dating 32-year-old Sabrina Honore. Sabrina also had children of her own. Not long after dating, Sabrina was pregnant and said Jonathan was the father. Their relationship lasted less than a year when Jonathan decided to end things between them. The couple was having issues, and Jonathan also had questions about whether he was the father of the baby. According to reports, Sabrina went ballistic and began threatening Jonathan via text and on social media. In this post, Sabrina said, "B, give me my baby birth certificate or I'm pulling up on Sarah's Drive. Screenshot this. Lump and whoever else. I got time today." In this text message on the screen, Sabrina really showed her rage. According to Jonathan's family members, the threats went on for about a week. Then on Monday, January 27th, Sabrina followed through by pulling up on Jonathan at his residence on the 6800 block of Sarah's Drive in Marrero just before 6 p.m. Family members tried to get Sabrina to leave, but she refused. Sabrina's relative, 31-year-old Arthur Thomas, was also alleged to have been with her. Then suddenly, shots went off through the house. Two of Jonathan's young family members, aged 5 and 6, ran under the bed. Jonathan was hit. Everyone else in the house was unharmed. Jonathan passed away at the scene. Deputies found him inside the house after receiving several reports of gunfire at about 6 p.m. Jonathan's family was devastated and wanted justice for what was done to him. Sabrina was the main suspect, and the family wanted her caught before she could go on the run. According to this post, Sabrina was upset because Jonathan no longer wanted to be with her after Sabrina's first baby daddy allegedly walked in their house on him at 1 a.m. Jonathan then left Sabrina's house. He later went back to his previous girlfriend's house. While Jonathan was at the previous girlfriend's house, Sabrina allegedly slashed his tires as a warning to show that she knew where he was, and then allegedly fabricated a birth certificate story for her and Jonathan's 1-month-old baby, which is the baby in question. So on the day Sabrina showed up, she allegedly came for a $20 birth certificate. The post also alleges she showed up with 2 armed men and left with Jonathan's life. A couple days would go by as the family pleaded with the public to help bring Sabrina to justice. Then on Wednesday, January 29th, Sabrina Honore and Arthur Thomas was arrested and both charged with second-degree hit and obstruction of justice. They're being held without bail at the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center in Gretna. Sabrina and Arthur are both innocent until proven guilty. Fam, this is such a sad situation all around the board. May Jonathan Brooken rest in peace. My deepest sympathies to his family and loved ones. I send them my well wishes during this very difficult time. The family has set up a GoFundMe to help support the Brooken family. I'll leave the link to it in the description box if you feel inclined to donate. The outcome of the situation is absolutely senseless and uncalled for. Sabrina's actions, if responsible, was outrageous. This crash-out culture has gotten out of control to the point big grown people don't know how to handle any sort of rejection. You can't force anyone to be with you. If he was questioned in paternity, a DNA test could have solved that. threats, and violence shouldn't be a problem solver if you can't have your way. To be carrying on like that when you have children and something to lose is irresponsible behavior. I can see why Jonathan wanted to end the relationship. It was toxic. As women, we have to remember that it's more important to love and respect ourselves than it is to crash out. Like I always say, anger is destructive in all its ways. And like Tony Two Times says, we have to succeed not to fail, so we don't become another hood tale. Now both Jonathan and Sabrina's children will be without their parents. Just tragic. Fam, I'm gonna leave the rest up to you. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony Two Times. Until next time.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony Two Times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Before I get into this story, I want to give a special shout out to Miss Antoinette Boyd for always supporting the channel and showing love. And for that, we definitely appreciate your support. Now let's get right into the video. Some say money is the root of all evil, but others like to clear that up and say, no, it's for the love of money. But one thing for sure is we all need that little green piece of paper to survive, because it makes the world go round. If you have a few dollars, you can live a better life, take care of yourself, your family, eat at better restaurants, get better medical treatment, live in better communities, send your kids to the best schools. The list goes on and on. Most understand money is just a tool and it doesn't buy happiness. But like Brooklyn rapper Fabulous said one time, it might not buy happiness, but it's a good down payment. Because without that cash, people stress over regular, everyday needs. Food, clothes, shelter, and I'm sure we all have been there. That makes life super stressful. Many people spend their whole life chasing a dollar amount until they feel like it's enough to live comfortably and finally retire, while others feel like it's never enough. But if you live long enough, you know that paper will turn friends into enemies, start wars, make families fall out, and go against each other. The calmest person in the world will zap out about their cash. So when some have it and others don't, that line of admiration and hate can be thin. While some look up to the money and success, others hate people for it. They secretly wish it was them instead of you. And when that greed kicks in, things can go left real fast. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to the Bronx, New York City, to discuss the case of a man who won the lottery and his nephew greed made him snap. Back in 2018, 73-year-old Owen Dillard was living his golden years of life. The father of two had been married to his ex-wife for decades, and even though not together no more, they remained close friends. She even lived across the hall from him in his Bronx apartment building located on Beekman Avenue. The older gentleman was known in the area for being friendly, giving the kids dollars, and hitting the corner store to play his lottery. And On would hit all the time. On one night's win, he hit for $10,000. And now older and battling cancer, it was a blessing for the man. And also for his new fiance, since he was ready to get married again and retire and live his life. The blessings would keep pouring in when after winning $10K, months later, he hit for $50,000. He was excited, even though the doctors told him he possibly only had months to live. He wanted to be happy and stress-free. Mr. On had a nephew, At the time, 45-year-old Idris Abdul Muhammad. Idris had been in some past trouble, even during a 20-year sentence, after being convicted of shooting a man in his head in the Bronx back in the 90s. When he was released, he decided he would get a new start on life and move to Decatur, Georgia. But he would always come back up top to see his family. Some say Idris was doing good down south, but he fell on hard times somewhere in the mix. This caused the man to fall to substance abuse and mental health issues after being a man in his 40s, not being able to maintain and survive. He would talk to his uncle On, who was close to his nephews. Idris had heard he had hit the lottery and said, "Unc, I will be by the apartment to holler at you soon," in which the older man, already sick, felt that was a blessing, being able to see his family. On June 11th, 2018, Mr. On's fiance left him in the apartment. She stated she would be back. When she returned that evening, she was in shock to find the man laying behind the couch, suffering from multiple stab wounds to the neck. She called NYPD, who responded to the building, but unfortunately, it was too late. And at 73 years old, Mr. On passed away at the scene. Police noticed it wasn't no forced entry into the home. People claimed to see two men with masks on leaving the building with a book bag. As the community got the news, they were devastated, as everyone had love for the older man. His other nephew and Idris' brother spoke out, saying his uncle was happy and only wanted to live out his last days in peace. He stated whoever did this needed to come forward and face justice, which would be ironic because days later, the prime suspect in their uncle's slaying would be his own brother, Idris. People told police they saw him come in the building. Then they heard somebody screaming, "Where the money at?" before things got quiet. Being New York City, everybody was minding their business until the news came out what took place and happened to Mr. On. But Idris was MIA. Exactly 1 month later, a 45-year-old woman named Wanda Rios was also navigating life in the Bronx. Wanda was a wife, a mother to a daughter, and she was happy, always smiling. She worked at a company called M&I, a security specialist job in the area. People would pass by and see the woman in the building every morning by herself, and some got concerned. But she would often tell friends in the community, "Don't worry about me, I'm good," as the company's motto was, "Ready for any confrontation." The owner of the company had close ties to Idris. It was his brother-in-law, but the man and his sister had got a divorce a while back. Wanda would often see Idris all the time and was familiar with the man. So exactly 1 month after his uncle passed away, when he walked to the building on July 11th, 2018 and tapped on the glass, seeing a familiar face, she thought nothing about it, not knowing he was on the run. Wanda let him in which the man then demanded electronics and machines from the office so he could sell them, before also stabbing Wanda multiple times and fleeing the scene. Police were later called to the location after her body was found, and unfortunately, she was already gone. This time, police had a still image of a suspect and video. They knew that the motive was robbery, and now exactly who it was, knowing Idris had struck again. Wanda's family was crushed. The community mourned the sweet lady who spoke to everybody, showed love in her area of the Bronx, and was known for being a hard-working wife and mother. Everybody stated she didn't deserve to go out like that. This time, Idris wouldn't slip through the cracks. Not long after, he was tracked down and arrested for the murder of Wanda, pending his uncle's investigation, and held without bail. At his first court appearance, things got crazy in the courtroom. When Wanda's family was there, and Idris, in the attempt to antagonize them, blew a kiss to her husband. After that, the man was forced to leave the courtroom as he got very angry. Everybody wanted the man to get the worst sentence possible for what he did to Wanda, and showing no remorse. His brother spoke out on his brother's mental health and also stated he had an addiction problem. He wanted people to know he wasn't always like this, and he prayed he got the help he needed. But as months went by, it was confirmed Idris did in fact take his uncle's life and fled the apartment with a few dollars. As the case went to court, crazy enough, Idris was able to cop out to only 2 counts of manslaughter. And in 2022, he was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Rest in peace to Mr. On and Wanda. I send my prayers and condolences to their family. A 73-year-old man already fighting for his life and your uncle, and for a few dollars, you take away the last remaining days of his life. If that wasn't cruddy enough, then you decide to go take an innocent lady away from her family, also for a few dollars in electronics. So I'm gonna ask y'all again, do y'all think for the love of money is the root of all evil? And have you yourself experienced people you are close to or loved ones crossing you for money? If so, how did you deal with the situation? Let me know in the comments. And remember, we got to succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, crazy story. Rest in peace to Mr. On, and rest in peace to Wanda. I get people gonna say it's addiction. Definitely. I know a lot of people that struggle with addiction. But addiction also come with needing money. And when people need money, they'll do a lot. So yeah, y'all leave it in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of Hood Tales. This your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.